Councilman Phillips.
Here.
Councilman Casella.
Here.
And Supervisor Thurston.
Here. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the, well, I guess we adopt the agenda first. Is there any new items or what have you? Kevin, you didn't need to speak tonight, did you? Okay.
Do we have to add this to the agenda?
Annual budget, there's a resolution, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's not part of it.
but not part of it,
Well, it should have been carried over from the last.
Right.
yeah.
Well, just so,
Yeah, so no, I think it's carried over, and we're gonna have the
It was on the
discussion,
last-
and we have it
It
with.
was on the last meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it should be all right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's
very
right.
good.
Anything else? If not, do I have a motion to approve the
Move.
agenda?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor, aye. Next item is a motion to approve the minutes of the November 5th meeting. That was our workshop. Before I take that, Jim, did you have a chance just to double check to make sure that the amendments, as I had read in the record and provided, Joe, through Lynn?
Oh,
I mean, I took a quick look at it, and it looked like it was fine, but I just want to make sure.
I'll look at them again.
Okay, but it's subject to that, let's just prove it. And if Jim finds some typo or something, then we'll correct it.
All right, I
okay?
make a motion to approve the November 5th
Second.
meetings.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. The next item is one that I think the board is really honored, takes great pleasure to hold here, and thanks to Tom Mash, who's here tonight. Tom did a lot of work. When was it? How long ago that you mentioned it to me? It was a while. 3 months ago. And then worked with Dwight Bonk and the school's superintendent and the junior high. He and I had talked, and Tom put a lot of effort into this wonderful plaque that is in commemoration and honor of Major Thomas F. Trabucco. And I have a resolution that I'll read, and then, I'll just talk a little bit about it in a second, and then the board would like to take, pictures with the family. But I'd like the family members just to stand up, starting, all of you stand up, and then Donnie, you can start and identify each one of you.
Okay, I'm Donnie. I go by Trabucco. This is always a
Yeah.
mention. And it's been told that if you live in the village of Wappingers, you go by the name Trabucco, because everybody calls you Trabucco.
Yeah.
I go by Trabucco.
And you have a street or lane named after you, right? A family, I should say.
It's actually named after
Yes,
Tom.
right.
Okay, this is,
I'm David, and I say Trabucco because I didn't grow up in the village.
John?
And I'm John Trabucco. I no longer live in the village. But we're both, Donnie and I are brothers.
Right.
And both Dave, Donnie, and myself are nephews of Tom Trabucco.
Okay.
He was the oldest of 5, 4 brothers, 1 sister. All 4 brothers served. At different
Tremendous.
branches of the Navy, but all 4 brothers served.
Yeah.
He was the oldest brother. My dad was the second oldest. So we're the product of dad. Dave's dad was the youngest. He was the
Okay.
baby.
And still alive. I don't know if you guys
Okay.
realize Trabucco, that generation alive.
Well, we really do appreciate, on behalf of the town of Wappinger, it includes the village as well, all the service, dedication, which the family has had over the years, for, the town, for the county, for the state, and for the United States of America, and the sacrifices that have been made. And for the record, Councilman Bill has arrived. Sorry, Bill, we just started, waiting.
Yes, my
as you got
apologies.
here. Okay. So what I'd like to do is read the resolution.
I just
Go ahead, yeah,
I just have one
sure.
question. John Trabucco, did you ever
Who I
work,
used to be.
did you ever work
I
at,
certainly did.
okay, I thought so. Thought I remember working with you before.
Well, would you share with us where you worked, unless it's censorable?
No, it's not. When we were very young, we both worked at Sears. And
Okay.
John was our bicycle guy. He could put those things together in a nanosecond. It just seemed like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we worked in the sporting department way back when we were probably late teens.
17, 18, 19,
Yep.
somewhere around, that was
Yep.
the beginning of the career.
Yep, there you go.
Did you have hair at that time?
What? I did. Yeah, I did, actually. It's working with John, and I lost it all.
Yeah. So, I have a resolution that I'd like to read, and then for the board to officially adopt, and then we can come down and, take a picture with everyone there. So the resolution, this Town of Wappinger Resolution of Honor and Appreciation, whereas Major John F. Trabucco, served in World War II as a U.S. Navy fighter pilot in the European theater. Whereas during his service, Major Thomas F. Trabucco flew his P-51 fighter Dottie to stop Nazi aggression. And whereas on March 1st, 1945, while flying Dottie, Major Thomas F. Trabucco was shot down and mortally wounded. Since we're still up in the air as to how and when he died, I just thought, Tom, that's a better way to say mortally wounded, because that's what happened ultimately. Whereas Major Thomas F. Trabucco was a resident of the village of Wappingers Falls, and whereas the Wappingers Central School District honored Major Thomas F. Trabucco on November 10th with the unveiling and dedication of a plaque in his honor at the Wappingers Junior High School. And whereas the town of Wappinger has received a copy of the plaque right here to be hung in Town Hall, and whereas in grateful appreciation and honor of Major Thomas F. Trabucco, the town board of the town of Wappinger dedicates the plaque in honor and appreciation of the sacrifice of Major Thomas F. Trabucco in service to the United States of America. And therefore, on behalf of the residents, employees, and officials of the town of Wappinger, we honor and appreciate Major Thomas F. Trabucco, adopted the 14th day of November 2022 by the Wappinger Town Board. Do I have a motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion to accept. Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Thank you, to the family members, and we'll just come down and get a picture, and I'll bring this official one down for you. We can stand around and, let we can, everybody stand right around here and, family, however, and you can hold a copy of that in the front. Put it on the left. Okay, we have Barb, we have somebody else taking any picture? Jessica, please. Yeah. Bill? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Real privilege to have that family, it really is. Yeah.
And it's not mandatory for you to stay around. Thank this guy for starting. He was the man. He's really is the man for doing it. Yeah, Tom, you want to say something? Go ahead, please.
So, exactly. So, thank you very much for sharing.
So I want to thank the town board for this night, and also Veterans Day and the Wappinger School District, and the family in allowing me to honor the Major. It is far and few between that a hometown hero who gave his life in sacrifice comes home. And all through the years, every day, we must honor our veterans and the sacrifice they gave for our freedoms. And you have to remember, a lot of these guys were 18, 19, 21, 22 in these high-tech machines, the P-51 Mustangs, the B-17s. And history will always be there. We can never erase it. And I also want to say for the Confederate Air Force who lost 6 of their people in Dallas, an horrific crash.
Yep.
The men, the history, and those machines will never and can never be replaced. Again, thank you very much for everything, and I appreciate it
Thank you,
and all
Tom.
that.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Tommy.
Much appreciated. Yeah,
And also, the WVA, the Wappingers Veterans Advisory, this is what we do. And this is why I'm a great part of it, and Kevin and the team here, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing and set the example and the role model for other communities to follow us.
Good work.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Kevin, thank you. Do you want to say a few words on behalf of the Veterans Advisory?
We're finally going to have a meeting on Wednesday, 2 o'clock, in the conference room. I've written to a number of people interested in what we're doing on the outside.
Excuse me.
I gave the supervisor a list of an agenda that I came up with, and it's open to new ideas. So I won't talk about any of it. It's nothing new, really. But I just wanted to let you all know that we are going to finally
Did you
have a
set
meeting.
up a place yet? I know the place is here, but did you pick a time, and then you're going to do Zoom? What are you doing, in person? Because I didn't see anything come out yet. I know you were going to have somebody send something out, so we know. Because I want to attend that meeting.
Right, I sent you something. I sent everybody a
I didn't
notice
see the
last
time.
night.
What time was it?
2 o'clock.
Thank you.
2 o'clock Wednesday.
Thank you.
And I sent out the note last night to everybody's town email.
Got it. Sorry about that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just have to be careful, you know, for having board meetings properly. So
Right.
maybe not everybody can participate, but certainly, you know, share ideas and you know, do the,
Right.
you know, properly.
Well,
right?
I'm also looking for some guidance.
Huh?
So
No,
I'm-
no,
I'm good- I'm good
absolutely.
with
Guidance
guidance
is very important, and I think if, you know, I give you guidance all the time. If we can have 2 board members that are able to participate, whether by Zoom or in person, that would be great, and I think others can, you know, contribute the ideas to you,
Right.
and, you know, I contribute all the time. But I think one of the great, you know, output of the Veterans Day ceremony is that, I'm sure you did, but I received a number of questions, comments about becoming volunteers in the organization.
I can't sell it.
Yeah,
I
so-
can't do that.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, they're generated, and we need to follow up with more of that.
So if you did get names, I will do the
No,
follow-up.
no, I didn't get names. I
Okay.
actually invited a couple to lunch and, you know, going to do that and not, well, I do have one name, you know, not
Good.
here, but I do have one.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, I'll stop by
I
tomorrow morning.
got, yeah, got that.
Okay, thank
So,
you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, thank you, Tom. See you later. Okay, so now we'd like to have a motion to open the public portion of the meeting. This is relating to, again, budget discussions is one of the items, although we've had our public meeting, and then the resolutions. So do I have a motion to open the public portion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion second to open public portion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. So if anybody has any comments on any of the items, then please come on up to the podium. Okay.
Seeing none, I make a motion to close.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second to close. Do I have a vote on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or objections? Okay, thank you. That motion is passed. So now, you know, we'll start our budget discussion on some remaining issues. You'll recall that I had come up, we had preliminary, tentative and preliminary budget. In the course of this, I had asked Councilman Casella to review and to look at, along with other board members, you know, where there may be some areas to refine, to edit, or to raise questions with respect to going forward. So I think, you know, the next discussion will be related to that. There are a couple of personnel-related issues and one legal-related issue that we won't discuss at this time. We'll have that in executive session. But other than that, I think it's, the floor is open for discussion here at the board.
So I think with the way we want to start it as, I think we've agreed on, I think there's probably 4 or 5 outstanding items. There may be something new that we want to talk about later on, but if you like, I have a summary of what I think we agreed to, and I'll go through those line by line if you're okay with that.
Sure,
Go
go
okay.
ahead.
So the first one is line item 2020-101A. That would be the secretary. We're going to continue to give the same rate of pay increase that we did for other individuals. 1315.201, which is new payroll service. I think something, Dick, you wanted to potentially talk about later on, so we'll hold off on that one.
Yeah, because some issues have come up and how we want to handle that. I think the bottom line is that because of, a number of issues and challenges that we found with our current payroll service provider, I want to revisit it. We figure out how we revisit whether or not that service is adequate, or as Councilwoman Bettina and I were discussing, what we can do to maybe jumpstart it or kick it in the pants, right? So I think we need to have some of that discussion. Part of it's legal with respect to Jim advising what we may be able to do because of existing contract.
Next line item is 1330.100. It's the tax receiver. I think we've all agreed with Frederick. We had a couple of double counts. We've fixed that. So we have the salary for that one. I don't know if you need specific numbers as we go through these, Jim, or not?
What's that?
Do you need specific numbers? Because I've taken Frederick through all the numbers that I know of.
Yeah, and I gave it
Do
to
we
Fred.
want to do specifics? I can.
Well, you should
But some of this is-
indicate what the amount.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
for the record.
Okay.
Al.
So for the record, the tax receiver is 69,635.
I just had a question on that one. So it's 1330.100, right? So
Yes, sir.
that line is appropriated, based on the change, appropriated at 69,635, right?
That's correct, because what ends up happening, some other funds are applied via the water and sewer districts. So that's why
Right,
that was
but-
changed.
Right, but this is where I have a question, because if you are reducing the line, the salary line, which is a .1 line,
Yep.
and you're paying the person out of a water district, how is that to be reflected in the budget, Jim? I mean, my understanding is
There should be a
the appro-
personnel line in the,
In the water?
Water district,
right.
and Frederick has that.
okay, so there's a personnel line indicated in the water district.
Yes,
And then there's a personnel line, in this case, in the A fund.
that is correct.
Okay, and then you basically appropriate that portion of the salary from the water district.
That is correct.
Okay.
I believe we also did that with the assessor, right?
Yes, yes. The same amount, I believe, right, is what I believe.
Okay.
Okay. Next change is line 1355-103A. That is our data collector. That is one of those discussions where we're looking to do an increase, and it's going to need an MOA to have that approved.
Well, no. That would just automatically go into collective bargaining agreement.
Correct, sorry.
So I met with, again, Mike Pitt again today, and he confirmed whatever we approve will be approved.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just a matter of paperwork, for anything with respect to that.
Okay. Okay. Next one's 1355-451A. That's a new line. It's Dutchess County Printing for the Assessor's Office. It's $2,000. Next one is 1355-452A. It's another new line. It's clothing allowance for the Assessor's Office, $450. Every department has a clothing allowance. This is one of the few that did not.
And that brings it consistent with the collective bargaining agreement.
Correct. 1410.100A, that's going to be at 4.5%, so that's 69,698. It's consistent with what we're doing for everybody else. 1410.200A, town clerk equipment, there was a $5,000 request. We're taking that out at 0. Next one is 1620.483, property maintenance. No expense in 2022. The budget was 3,000, we're making it 1,000.
Historically, Frederick, what was that applied to? Because there was some in the past, or Bill, if you remember what that property maintenance.
My understanding is if we have to send buildings and grounds out to do a private property,
Yeah, for cutting grass, right, or
Right.
for zombie property.
or, I'm sorry, if we have to contract, we contract with a vendor to do that, correct?
We have, sometimes.
Sometimes
Buildings
both.
and Grounds has gone to it.
Sometimes they do it, right.
And I think the why I raised it is that in the past, before COVID, we did have to spend some monies every year.
Right.
So COVID came and the housing market was rolling, and particularly we had no vacant properties left. My concern is that we may be seeing that return again.
Yeah.
So at least if we have a couple thousand in there that anticipates it, that there may be that help. Barbara, didn't we have a call or so recently with respect to some property? I'm trying to remember.
Yes, but nothing to the level that we had to bring it to you to use that line.
Right,
But
right,
I just noticed two are up for foreclosure,
yeah,
and we may, with the downturn in the economy, start seeing that.
yeah. So it's my recommendation that we consider at least having something in that line.
Right, and we do, we have 1,000 in that line right now.
Is the 1,000 enough?
I think if we need to accommodate
Okay.
more, we can move it in.
The other thing too is the way our property maintenance code is structured, it's a lien against the property, so,
It's a pass-through.
so it would be spent, and if not paid, then it would get levied on the subsequent year tax bill. What's happened, one of the problem, it's easier frankly if we contract for the service, that way we have receipts, so that we know what the number is for purposes of the levy. In the past, we had labor, forced labor do it, and the record keeping was not the best,
Right.
and we
Correct.
didn't have the ability to charge it back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next line, 1620.484A. This is a new line. This is something that the board is considering. Town Hall Custodial Services. It's 25,000.
What's the line item?
1620.484A, that's a brand-new line. Frederick and I spoke about that this afternoon.
Do we have any idea, any ballpark on what that would cost?
I'm going to reach out to the name that you gave me, Bill, if the board agrees that we should be exploring that.
There's probably
Yeah.
a few
So we wanted to
firms
put
the
something in
area
here,
that-
whether that's
Doesn't
enough,
count.
we need to go back and take a look.
We have the one that does IBM.
Just so the board is aware, custodial services is subject to prevailing wage. There's a separate prevailing wage for custodial services that are contracted out.
Right, so I think,
I think it's Article 9
Okay.
of the labor law.
I think this will give us the ability to explore that option and do a, cost analysis on,
All we wanted to do is put a placeholder in there, because we know we want to do it,
Right.
outsource it. So the question is, put something in there, and if it's more, then we got to go back and revisit.
But, just, the reason why I say that is there is a prevailing wage schedule out there, so you can get kind of a handle on what the pricing would be on an hourly basis.
So just to make it clear, since Steve's here, we're not talking about any job actions. We're actually talking about trying to enable you to have more hands on the ground, and then to, have custodial services for several buildings to be addressed by a professional outside, service provider. So that's really what's, I think, behind
Correct.
the interest of the board, right?
yeah, and
Board members?
I would say this would be discussed with Steve prior to
Yes,
any actions. We
absolutely.
just want to have the ability to
Yep.
explore this and have a funded appropriation.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Al.
Okay, 1680.400A, IT, so we want to add 19,268. Basically, what that's going to take care of is, when we have Zoom meetings, et cetera, we wanted to fund this a little bit more, because some of the reception in here was
Exactly.
quite honestly terrible. So what we want to do is make sure that we have enough funding for Craig Roberts and team to go ahead and, make sure that everybody can hear. As an example, Tim Moot or somebody, or Angela was on a Zoom call, you couldn't hear them, so we want to update that, so that's what that's for.
Just a quick question. Could those funds be spent by Mike Minor, if,
Yeah, well, I've
If it's
talked with
legal,
Mike, and he'll work
is it
with
kinda-
Craig, and
so
I
it's
think.
IT across the board,
Yeah.
kinda?
Yeah, for
So I think
boardroom
between the two, they could
meetings.
probably work
Okay.
something out, but we'd
Yeah.
at least fund it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the intention.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it does impact both, you know.
Yes.
Mike is the one that feeds the signal, you know, out.
Next line item is 1930.400A, judgment and claims. We had a $15,000 budget. We spent year-to-date zero, which is a good thing. So we made that 10,000 instead of 15,000.
Well, let me say, we spent zero that was not insurance.
Yeah, right,
covered.
right. Line item 1990.400A, contingency payroll. There was 16,000 in 2022 budget. We've spent zero, so we took it out and we made it zero. Line item 7145.400, it's soccer. We added 1,000 for inflationary purchases. It's a one-time deal only, so we want to make sure, again, because inflation is what it is, everything's costing a little bit more.
What was the line?
7145.400A.
And that's soccer, you said?
Yes, sir.
And that's, you know, because of some existing expenses that, you know, there have been inflationary increases for materials and, you know, labor, so it's a small amount, but I think it helps them.
What was the amount?
1,000.
1,000.
Okay.
That same will apply to Little League, which is line 7145.403A. We're adding 2.5K again for inflationary materials expenses. Again, a one-time only. We expect that in 2024, that'll come back to where we were before. So
Right.
again, hopefully inflation is under control by then, or at least a little better than we are today. And then the offset to a lot of the expenses that we added, it's going to come out of line 8162.400A. We're going to take 28,500 out. Basically what that is, it's royal carding, it's recuse, it's a number of those things there where we talked to Mike Sheehan, and he was okay with taking some money out. Matter of fact, they had a little bit of contingency left in that line.
Yeah, and that's with respect to the recycle yard. It's not the royal carding per se fees because
Correct.
they're increasing, but it's with respect to other
What
costs
we-
and
Right.
expenses
what we
for the
pay.
yard.
Right.
Yep,
Right.
and that's all I had for the A fund.
Well, there's another line that I think I forgot to mention,
Which one?
A3510.400, I think you intended to subtract 300 from it to remain with 700.
What was that line again?
3510.400,
Okay.
What is that?
Is that dogwood?
yes.
And what was that change?
There was to be a deduction of $300 from the line.
Oh, I
Yeah,
got
he
it.
came to us and he said he wanted $700 instead of 1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, I saw him today. Okay,
And
that's
what is that for?
was.
He said his cell phone.
Okay.
Yeah, for the telephone, yep.
Yeah.
All right, so
Smartphone.
reducing that one to 700.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think when you do all that math, Frederick, it nets to zero from pluses and minuses, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
What about, hold on for 1 second before you button this one up. 7520.410A, Sports Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Did you do that one?
No,
yet.
so what we're going to do with that one is we have 5 in there already today, and as we kind of talked
Oh,
about.
it's already in? Okay.
5's already in there today, and what we're going to do is we have something else we want to talk about tonight that's specifically related to that, because we have some expenses from 2022.
All right.
I've gotten the, you know, specific list that we requested at the workshop, Bill, and, you know, that has some items that, what we're thinking is later on, we can have a resolution just to authorize, you know, the amount, less sum amount, you know, to be paid before the end of 2022.
Okay, so
Okay.
just to clarify,
All right.
7520.410A remains at 5,000, correct?
Yes.
That's
Correct.
correct.
All
Yep.
right. What about 7620.419A?
Garden Club.
What was your position on that?
Yeah, so the garden club, we went up 1,000
All right,
from 3 to
so-
4.
Yes,
So 7620.419A to 4,000, correct?
Yeah.
correct.
All right. And then 7620.4201 supervisor, you had
Added,
book club,
yeah. It's very popular, and I wanted to
2,500.
help defray.
So
some
we're all,
of those
we're all
costs.
good with that, right?
428.
Yeah, we're good with that.
Okay. Is that all you got for Afon?
Yeah,
That's
other
all
than
I-
a couple things to discuss,
So we had some other things, but those are the
executive session.
All right.
ones. You ready for B?
Yep, go ahead.
What I would do right now, Councilman, is
Yes,
I
sir.
would move to make those adjustments in the A fund right now before we get to B.
That's fine.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept the changes as stated by line item for A fund
Second.
expenses.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Thank you.
And we do have, as the supervisor said, a couple of line items we do need to discuss out of A, so we'll get to those.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the same thing in the B. There's a couple of items we'll need to discuss, so I'll just talk about the ones that, again, we've kind of all got agreement on. So the first one in the B fund is 1420.400B. That's the attorney. We kept it flat. The budget in 2022 was $60,000. It's going to be $60,000 in 2023. I know that we had a budget in there of about 100. Again, we wanted to keep it flat year over year. That same methodology will apply to the engineer, line 1440.400B, 30K in the budget for 2022, left it flat. Sorry.
So question before we go on.
Yeah.
Don't we have some non-escrow expenses related to the planner? We should, but there's nothing in here, is
That
there?
would be A fund.
Is that A fund, this
No, it should be in B fund.
B?
Well,
Yeah.
it depends on what he's
Planner,
doing, though.
planner, we have $20,000 budget, if that's what you're talking about.
Okay, where is that one?
Yeah, we didn't,
That's not, because we didn't change it, because
We
you
didn't
left
change
20
it.
in, so
Oh, okay.
this is only changes.
Oh, okay, okay,
that stays the same.
It's
okay.
in here.
okay. Oh, okay, that's fine. I didn't see it when I was going through the sheet, so,
Yeah,
okay.
The planner should be in B fund, not A fund.
Yeah.
Got it.
Frederick, it's in B fund?
Yes,
Yes.
80/20.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's line 8020.400B, that's the planner, there's 20,000 in that. So we didn't change anything, so again, this is only,
Yeah, yeah, I
These are
understand, I
changes.
understand, I just wanted to,
Yep.
because I hadn't seen it when I was going through it, so.
yep, no problem.
Okay,
Let me know when you're ready for the,
yeah, go ahead, yeah.
so the next one is 1440.B, this is the engineer, again, we kept it at 30. It was 30 in the budget for 2022, and we originally had that in the budget at 50K. Next one is 3120.400B, it's vandalism. We basically kept it flat to the 2022 budget. Originally, I think we had 250 in there. We spoke to Kirk Imparati and his team. We're going to cut it to 200K.
We are?
Yeah. We can't, because he can't get he's only spent 120K
I
year-to-date.
talked with him last night, and he said,
Because we're trying to get,
Okay,
we can have a discussion on it.
yes,
If you want to.
absolutely,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's look at it right now real quick. So, just so I'm following the methodology here. So, we know the challenge has been to fill the shifts, especially over the last 2 years with COVID.
Yep.
230,000 was budgeted under 3120.4.
Correct.
Which is the town patrol, vandalism patrol. I see supervisors recommended 250.
To try to increase additional, stationary and traffic, what we even talked about last Saturday.
Yeah, so I don't think the issue is increasing. I think it's their ability to be able to hire, and that's been the whole issue.
Yeah.
I just talked to Kurt the other day. Listen, I'm more than
Yeah,
open.
because
if
he
you're gonna-
told me last night they'll hire.
'cause they've only spent 120K through
Yeah, I
year-to-date
know,
September.
well, there's still a bunch left that
I'm
hasn't
sure there's
been
stuff to
accounted
come.
for.
It's just getting the manpower.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
the
well,
that was the
will-
whole issue.
He said he'll work on that because we're an important town.
Oh. If you want, we can keep that one, but that's fine. You want to
So-
talk about that?
One thing we did a number of years ago, just more of in an effort to indicate targeted traffic enforcement, we created 3120.401B,
Right.
Yep,
which we originally had put $22,000 in.
yep.
Actually, it was 12,000, it went to 22,000.
It's now 22.
Right now, it's at 22. The previous year was 230. This year's recommendation was 250 plus 22. Supervisor, are you comfortable doing 230 and 22, or do you still want to stick to the 250 and 22?
Well, since we've made commitments to try to increase, and, there may be other options to do it, like to stay there, but as long as the board is willing to consider, increasing it if we need to, because, we made a commitment to our, community to increase the stationary and the
I think
traffic.
the will is there,
So,
is if he can provide the service, that'd be great.
yeah, I think he will.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we keep it flat to 2022 at 230, and if we need to commit more money, we can. Is everybody in agreement? Is that-
That's fair.
I don't,
And
Dick, what do you think?
So keep all those lines flat,
Yes.
right?
So the
is what you're
230 and the
saying.
22.
Well, and let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So, Councilman Caselli, you're saying to revert to the 2022 number, or?
Yes, revert to 2022.
We're only $20,000 off here.
Right.
So to me, this really is not a major point of contention here. I mean,
What do you want to do?
if we keep it as
If we can
is
get the
right
coverage,
now,
That's great.
Yep.
we're probably not going to spend it all, but at least we're showing a commitment to,
Fine.
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no issues.
All right, so we'll just keep it as is.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Frederick, you got to make that change?
Keep it as 250?
Correct.
250. Yeah, I was more thinking of when we do this, what we're actually going to be able to expend, but certainly that shows, as we suggested, and
Yeah, and we'll
Supervisor
make
suggested.
every effort to do that.
Yeah.
There are potentially some other options that we could consider too at a later
Sure.
time.
Okay, next item is 3510.400 dog warden phone. We're going to take it from 1K to 700K. He's only spent $252 year-to-date,
Oh, that was a B fund.
small
Yeah.
dollars. Next one is 3620.106B, code enforcer, 53805 in the budget. I've talked to Barbara. We don't really need to put anybody in that position today, so we're going to remove that. 3620.410B, property maintenance, we had the same one over on A. We added back in 1,000 on the other one, but this one here, we took out 3. The board wishes to add 1 in, that's fine.
Yeah, just to keep it as a placeholder, I would put 1,000 in there.
Okay. Got it. The next one we're going to skip. I think we need a little more information on that one. 720.109B, park attendance. So there's $6,000 in there for that today. I think we said we're going to cut it to 0. If anybody-
And, the
Okay.
purpose of that one was what? Was that yours, Jessica, or was that Steve's?
It was a shared line. The original intention was to get more opening and closing assistance on weekends with the ability to get part-time help.
Non-existent.
What was implemented has been,
It's 0 so far spent.
yeah.
So if we were to get custodial services and we free up some time for a person, then that could possibly be one of the items, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll explore that. We'll keep that open and figure out.
Just for the record, we do need to,
Yes.
as far as I'm concerned, it's not an option. These gates cannot be left open all night.
Yeah. It's not so much closing them, it's opening things like bathrooms at parks and facilities that we have that people would like to be using on the weekends or during the week. You have pickleball players out there, but no open bathroom. The same thing on weekends and for rentals and such like that.
And two of my biggest concerns really are with respect to Carnwath and Castle Point, because I don't think that Castle Point's ever opened, right? But we really want to,
I don't even think we have the sign up again.
Yeah.
Because the rules and regulations sign is gone, the green one.
so, okay, we need to look at that. Then I have had some concerns I've driven by, I know Bill has with respect to Carnwath, and in fact, Bill Ponte and Barb were there one night and said that they saw people running around
Oh, yeah.
inside the building. So
Yep.
I think we have to be very careful of our properties, and so something has to be worked out, I think, how we do that.
Was always the bathrooms. We have these facilities, people want to be using our facilities. And if you are out at Mart's with your kid on a Saturday, you can only stay so long as their bladder will allow it because the bathrooms are not open.
Well, I mean, if we're going to open
Right.
facilities, we need to
Open
maintain them. I mean,
Right.
Carnwath Farms should not be open at 2 o'clock in the morning on
No.
a Saturday night.
Correct.
Which is when I drove through there and there were people in there. So it just amazed me that we're leaving these things wide open. That's just asking for trouble,
Right,
especially
exactly.
at a campus with 5 buildings on it.
Exactly.
So we need to find a solution for that. I mean, we've talked about this probably
Ad
every year
nauseam.
for the last 10 years, and we still don't have a solution.
Yeah, this one was meant to be our solution with the ability to get part-time help as well.
Okay, so I think, we still need to come up with a plan to address this issue, and we figure out what that means within this budget or some other relationship that we establish.
Maybe we have it at a workshop.
Yeah, so anyway, just because we're taking it out for now doesn't mean that we're forgetting it. Okay,
Exactly.
we have to, pay attention to it, as Councilman and Woman said, so, okay,
Agreed.
let's move on now.
Sure. Next one is 7110-198B. It's comp time. It's 0 paid out in 2022. We had 19 in the budget for 2023. We made it 0. And if you look at prior years, very little's been paid out of that line. Next line is 7110-200B, park equipment. The original budget is 120. We made it 0. We just purchased a new truck on November 5th. One of the things we said was, if we do the purchase now, we're not going to do anything next year unless it's an emergency, number one. And then number two is if we need a truck, like one of the telephone trucks with a bucket on it, that'll probably go through like an Altoum truck, something like that, and that'll go through our highway department. So that went from 120 down to 0. Next line item, 7110-409B. This is for fence repairs. We had 3K in there. We made it 10K. Next item
And
is,
these were for what fences, Alex?
so this is
generally?
this is fences across the
Because I
different
know we
complexes.
have, like, Castle Point again. we
Right,
need
so
to be
this is
looking
for,
at.
this is
Yeah,
for
they're
any,
not as
basically
bad
any
as
fields that
them.
we have, so whether it be Castle Point
Yeah, okay.
Right.
or Rockingham,
Yeah.
et cetera, so we wanted to put a little more money
Okay,
into that.
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Next one is 7110-416B, pest control. We took that down from 9 to 5.
So Steve, let me ask you, have we resolved the problem here of pests in Town Hall being the 4 little footers that scramble around? Because we did have a lot of mice
Okay.
and stuff here.
It's ongoing maintenance. It's an ongoing service for pest control, exactly what it says. If you just, take it away, it's probably going to come back.
Well, you've only spent $27.50 so far, year-to-date September. So do you need 9? If you need 9, we'll put 9 back in.
I'm not sure, I don't know what the current amount is.
We had 9 in the budget in 2022. You spent $27.50 so far, year-to-date. We got 9 next year. We think it's 5. If you think it's 5 or more, let us know.
I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Okay, so
So
let's.
let's leave it at 5, and if we have to
we'll
address
leave it
it.
at 5, yeah. If we have to
That's fine.
have a
back to it.
problem, we'll come back right away on it.
Really?
Okay. Next one is 7110-441B. It's Rockingham, budget of 1,000. We added 2,000 to that, so it's now 3,000. Next one, we add a little bit more money to it. It's 7110.455B. It's bleacher repair. Budget today is 3K. We meet at 10. It's roughly $1,500 per bench. I know we have a number of benches we need to replace at the various baseball fields, soccer fields, et cetera.
And I want to make sure also Castle Point.
Right.
Because we've talked
We've
about
had-
that for at least the 5 years I've been here, and we need, and Steve's wanted to do it. I mean, is that enough, you think, in the line, or?
We're probably going to need a lot more than that, but he also has
Okay.
money in there for bleachers as well, so we'll see. I think there's about $15,000 in the bleacher fund, so maybe we can kind of rebalance some of that. If we need to come back at it as part of a bigger
Listen,
project, we
We
can.
can.
Right, yeah, we need to do it, but again, I'm sorry, I'm taking your thunder.
No, you're
Angela,
not.
but,
No, we're
you know,
a
we
team.
have a number of
Don't
new
know.
families coming into, Chelsea.
I know.
And, with young kids, and I want to see our parks and elsewhere, Chris, and Quiet Acres and so forth.
I agree.
Bill still doesn't have a park, so we need to.
You guys owe me a playground.
Okay, you had
Well, I
to,
think
you had to open that up, because
It's in there, we don't need it in this budget.
But I need to
Just
give them
saying.
equal time.
Just for the record, they owe me a playground.
Okay,
Hey, Bill,
go
do we owe
ahead.
you a playground? Okay.
It's in the record.
All right.
Okay.
Next one is 7140.120B. It's a new line. It's for pickleball. So we have 0 in the budget. We're going to add 2K. That'll take care of things like nets, any other kind of upgrades we need to do. Last one is 7140.404B, advertising. It's 3,500. We want to take it down to 3,000. We've only spent $981 year-to-date. And I think the next couple we need to have further discussion on that I have on my list.
Yeah, okay.
So I make a motion to approve all the adjustments we just spoke about on the big expense.
I'll
Yes,
second
Steve?
that.
Motion and second with respect to the B fund expense lines. All in favor?
Aye.
Hang on.
Aye.
Did you have a question
go
before we
ahead,
do? Go ahead.
Recently, I had some work done at Spook Hill, and when I sent the invoice to Frederick, discovered that the Spook Hill line had dropped off the budget. I think that was because of the grant money that had gone towards the park in the previous year. So I didn't see a
Oh,
Spook Hill
yeah.
line, and didn't realize it until just recently that there isn't. So at least a placeholder or put some funds in there since.
Well, I
have
mean,
some
definitely, we
assets
need to have
maintain
something
it.
in there.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. What would be your estimate, at least at this point? Because if it's
Well-
capital related, then it can come back.
Yeah,
For general ongoing maintenance.
I'm gonna
you know.
say 2,000, because of the additional equipment that's been installed there, plus the new facility.
And, okay.
I think that would be a good
I have
number.
no problem going in with 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000's fine.
Is there a line for that, Frederick? I don't see.
There's
I
a,
couldn't-
there's
I
a
couldn't
Spook
find
Hill
it.
roof replacement, but that's the only line he's got in
Yeah, I
there.
don't see.
Yeah, I think it got dropped.
Got dropped?
Somehow during the grant phase.
So we had a 7110-451B that was Spook Hill roof replacement, but that's the only line in it
Yeah, that
that
was
specifically
different,
mentions
yeah.
Spook Hill.
Yeah, I think it dropped out.
Okay.
So Frederick, just make sure we get a line added back in if there isn't one, if you find it.
So why don't we use that line, 451,
Okay.
Oh, 451?
and add the 2,000
You want to put,
in there?
we'll put 2,000 there?
Thank you.
That's fine.
Yeah, put 2,000 in.
Okay.
expense or would it be something else?
Miscellaneous.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Frederick.
Okay, so we had a motion, second, we're about to vote. All in
So
favor?
wait, let's just make sure we add this $2,000 in there.
Yeah,
So including the $2,000 change for Spook Hill, make a motion that we accept the expense
Second.
reduction.
Second.
motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Did we need to do anything for the B fund revenue? The top, you had originally showed me.
Yeah, so what ends up happening is, with the expense reductions, and Frederick, I'm not sure what they all add up to now because we haven't approved everything. But what we're going to see is that originally we'd used $750,000 worth of B fund balance. It's going to be significantly less, probably in the 400K range, probably 425 range. So we found a number of reductions, over $300,000 worth of reductions we've kind of agreed to tonight. So that's where we're at right now. And again, it's pending on some of the other discussions that we
Right,
need to
right.
to have later on. But that's a pretty good story.
Okay. Bill?
Hard work paid off.
Just got a couple
Yeah,
minor public safety ones that I mentioned, but I didn't have numbers for yet. So let's just see if we can gain consensus on
A B
this.
fund?
A fund. 3640.400A, disaster preparedness. We started with $10,000 a number of years ago with the intent to have a consultant create a plan.
Yeah.
However, we stumbled into COVID over the last 2.5 years. We reduced the line. It's at 2,500 right now. I think as we come out of COVID, we're going to lose the ability to get certain things for free, like test kits and certain PPE that we may want to have here. What I'd like to see, if I can get the consensus of the board, is to go from 2,500 to 6,000 on that disaster preparedness line.
400A, right?
It'd be that's correct, for the purpose of planning and possible supplies that we may need once the COVID,
Yeah, once your inventory is gone.
once we don't have
Because
the
we've
ability to
been-
get anything
Right.
for free from the county and state. So if we can do that, I would appreciate it. And the other thing that I'd like to see is on 3310-400A, which is traffic control and safety in the A fund. There's $0 in that line right now. It used to be for the traffic signal down the street here, which we
Right.
no longer maintain. But I think that it would be in the best interest of the town to explore procuring 4 of those
Stop signs?
lightweight radar speed signs that the highway superintendent can mount based on each council member's targeted areas.
Okay.
And we had discussed that on Saturday, and I
yeah.
think there was consensus that
Yes.
we would do
So
that.
I would say.
Do you know what the
Any
price
idea the
is?
cost?
They're about 3,200 plus or minus, so if we put 15,000 in that line, based on the bid, I'm sure that they're available, some bid on them, you know, we can get the best value
So
for.
we're talking about the solar ones?
Correct. And it gives us the ability to identify targeted areas and mount these, have the highway superintendent mount these for periods of time. I mean, you see how they work. Town of Fishkill has a number of them now.
Village has one on list.
Yeah, the village has a permanent one on list, but they had a temporary one on East Main Street, which is not there right now. I don't know what happened to it, but if we can put 15,000 into 3310.400, it will give us the ability to fund that project, as long as I have consensus from the board. Those are the only 2 public safety related issues that I had.
I am fine with both.
I have no problem
So,
with either.
no problem with those. So, right now, though, we're at we're 18,500 in a hole with those 2 things. Do you just want to take it out of A fund balance to pay for those, or do you want to try to offset the expense?
Just, if we can, what's the A fund contribution right now, from fund balance?
0 so far.
Okay, so there's zero offset right now?
Correct?
Okay. I'd like to have them in the budget rather than do.
Agreed.
This way, it's codified for a project next year. So whether it be a revenue increase or whether it be another expense reduction, that's something we're gonna need to figure out. And we may not, it may be worth having that conversation after executive session so we know what other numbers we need to deal with.
Okay,
Yep, I
that's
agree
fine.
with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'll just move that we authorize those 2 appropriations in the A fund.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Thank you.
Okay.
Frederick, you got those too?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Any other comments by any of the council members?
No, so far so good.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on then to the resolutions section for right now.
Do you have any amendments to the highway? fund? No amendments? to the
No,
highway, okay.
no, he was okay with, Mike had no other amendments, no
No.
discussions, none of us had any.
No.
Okay, Jim?
No, that's fine, I just
Okay,
want to make sure you
yeah,
covered all the bases.
yeah, and I saw him today too, so it's no issues. Okay, let's move on to the resolutions. Resolution 2022-146, a resolution appointing recreation assistant. I recommend that we table that.
Table to after executive session.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Al, you're looking,
No, I'm just,
oh, okay. Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Next resolution is 2022-151, resolution authorizing contract for appraisal services for potential purpose of real estate. Jim, have you?
That stays on the table. We're still waiting on it.
Okay,
okay, I'll make a motion to table it again.
Second.
Second.
okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. And let's talk about that further. Resolution 2022-159, I think it should be tabled because council is going to give us some legal advice and counsel on that one. So do I have a motion?
Motion to table.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Resolution 2022-158, resolution awarding contract for fence replacement at Robinson Lane Fields. Al, and we had a discussion with Little League, but Al, why don't you summarize?
Yeah, so there was a number of different alternatives, 4 alternatives that we looked at. The one that Little League, the supervisor and myself met with President of Little League and the vice chair on Saturday, and we're going to go with alternate number 2. What alternate number 2 does is it's for fields R3, it's removing the batting cage, first and third base, baseline and home run fences to be replaced. Install a new fence for dugout, first and third base, baseline, home run fence, and install a 12-foot wide double gate, and also install 2 foul poles. That bid is for $68,564. They had a balance of $75,000. We originally had authorized actually 100. We spent 25. We had 75 left. So that'll leave us about $7,000 left that we can expend out of the original authorization we did. And I did run this past.
So you have to award the base bid of $26,400.
Scary?
You have to award the base bid of $26,400.
26.4. I'm not sure what you're saying here.
On the base bid here.
So that must be awarded.
Right, because that's the base bid. And then
Even
the
though
other
we're
ones
doing
are-
alternative 2, which is $68,564.
Right, so that's an add-on to the base bid.
Yeah, it's indicated in the resolution.
Okay. All right. So I make a motion that we authorize GeoCorp contracting for the original 26.4 base, plus I guess we add the 68,564 to that?
So, right, so it'd be base bid plus, so in number 1, then you would, shall include alternates number 2. And then, so the award to GeoCorp would be,
94,964.
yeah, I guess, you're quicker than me. So,
And this is a bond to fund this?
there was a bond for, what was the bond amount?
No, we actually paid this one out of.
750,000?
Originally, we had 750, that was last year's bond. Did that include this
Is that what?
amount?
Yeah, we had $250,000, so that's $750 set aside for Robinson Lane.
Okay.
All right, well, it's indicated in the resolution, so
Yeah.
whoever's moving in second.
Now, is this 26 plus the 68, or
Yeah.
is this
Yes.
20?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it has to be.
Okay,
You have to go to the base, Chris.
okay.
So it's 94,964 in total. So we should have even more money left over in that original base, because we had 250 that we actually bonded for. Right, Frederick?
So we can look at that.
We should take a
other
look at it.
parts.
But I just want to make sure there's no issues with us going above 75.
I don't think so. I mean, we, as long as we cover the base, we can go,
Okay,
and we have the bond money for it, so.
okay.
Right, Jim? I mean, there's no problem with doing what what Al's
No,
proposing.
so it's just.
So I'm all in favor.
All right, so I make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. The
Thank
next item is Resolution 2022-163, resolution authorizing an agreement for me to sign it, for dial ride services with Dutchess County. This is the same one we've had every year, and there's no changes to that agreement this year. Right, Jessica?
Move.
Yeah, I saw it.
Believe
There's
it's
not.
a slight decrease.
Yeah, maybe, but no increase. Yeah, if there is, it's like, yeah, so motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2022-164. This is resolution authorizing the submission of the should be 2022, I think,
Yeah, I was gonna
say,
Community
it should be
Development
2022.
Block Grant Application. This is for basically Phase 2
So,
for Spook Hill.
Actually, the resolution should be for setting the public hearing.
Yeah, we have that in here, I think.
No, I
Yeah,
know,
The
but-
resolution.
notice of public
But you have
hearing.
to have the public hearing
Okay,
before.
but I thought we needed to show the intent, because the application has to go in November 18th. We have to show the intent of the board.
Well, you have to, so you have to put in an intent,
Yes,
and then you have to have a public hearing.
yes. So aren't we
It says,
voting on the
"Whereas
intent?
input from citizen groups have been received and considered at a public
Yeah.
hearing."
Yeah,
So
that's
you
the,
haven't had- you-
But we need to show the intent of the board, so we need a different
Right.
resolution?
No,
for
that's
the-
just, I mean, that's just right, this resolution comes after the public hearing.
Yes, okay.
So you just, it's authorized, do a voice resolution to authorize the supervisor to
Sign a letter of intent,
Letter of
subject
intent.
to the
Right.
public hearing.
I move it.
Second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Joe, I can work with you to just get the right,
And then
Capture the
notice
right
of
wording
public
on that.
hearing should be,
okay,
sure, and then the notice of public hearing is correct,
correct.
but
We need to set a date.
should be for the next meeting.
I think it's December or
It,
something.
it's,
The deadline was,
What?
hold on,
I had the deadline for the actual submission.
I want to say December 5th.
Yeah, it was earlier December than our
before the 14th.
December 14th,
Right.
yeah. So we have to have, though, 30 days public hearing notice, or to
No,
that
it's
next
5
board?
days.
5
Oh,
days?
Good.
So we have a board meeting on the 28th,
Right.
so we could do it then,
28th of what?
November, right?
No board
No,
meetings, this is
no,
it.
No?
we don't have anything till December.
December?
December is the
Oh, I
next
thought
one.
there was a board meeting 28th, none.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Well, Jim, we need a special meeting then, maybe? I don't, please
Or
advise.
can you do it at the next the next regular meeting,
I think that's,
The next
I'm just
regular
looking
meeting is
from
December.
Scott's email,
December 12th?
Yeah.
but I think that was too late.
Deadline is Friday, and it's December 9th.
Yeah.
And the letter of intent deadline is the 8th.
18th, yes.
We can send a letter of intent tomorrow.
Yeah, the letter of
Yeah,
intent,
you're
because you
doing
just
that
agreed
tomorrow.
with
Yeah,
that.
we-
Yeah,
you're
so I
doing
can do
that.
that. It's
Yep.
just that,
The public
the
hearing.
public hearing. I guess, while we, maybe, since it's CDBG, let me call tomorrow or check to see if we could have a couple days grace.
Why don't we have a meeting on the 28th?
I mean, I thought that's, we did, Joe, do we have, what was
No.
the original schedule? Nothing, okay.
The reorg meeting, you set one meeting for the.
Yeah, I know, I just wanted to make sure, yeah.
Well, if we need to have a public hearing on the 28th,
We hold it just for that purpose? Does that interfere with travel plans that you made because of this schedule?
My wife's birthday, so I
Oh,
won't be
wow.
here.
Tonight's my wife's birthday.
Oh, jeez.
So we can dual birthdays.
All right,
No,
Just
and I
gotta be
don't mind
quick,
as
as long
long
as
as
we
we get it in before that,
that's fine.
whether it's 28th or if it's some other day, if you prefer later on in early December.
I don't,
I mean, I don't care. But no, I prefer we don't do it on your wife's birthday.
I mean, I'll do it, it's not a problem.
No, I don't want
I
you to
think
do
it's a
it.
good idea.
Can we do it 29th?
Mine, we can
Yeah,
do.
we could do it. Is there, 29th, Barbara, conflicts with zoning or planning?
That is
Tuesday.
29th. I have nothing.
Nothing? So we could do it then, just for
Okay.
that purpose.
Thank you so much.
Is that all right?
That's fine. You're okay with that?
Bill?
Thank you for asking.
Well, I know that,
Board members really don't like using the other one.
no, I understand.
I
Nor is
know.
that the best for
I
the
know.
residents or anybody, for the applicants. So we, just
So we're gonna do
need
the
to be
29th.
coordinated.
Bill, does that work for you?
29th.
yeah.
Okay,
So then, Jim, resolution establishing the public hearing on the CDBG grant for the 29th.
It's
at
just a public
7 o'clock,
hearing?
Just a, well, we'll probably have a resolution
Right, you
based
want
on
to
that.
do, if it's just that, you want to do a 6 o'clock meeting?
I'm fine with that.
6
Yeah,
o'clock
6
on
o'clock.
Tuesday, November 29th for
Yeah.
a public
Okay.
hearing and any
Okay.
subsequent resolution?
Yes.
Good.
All right, I'll move that we set a special meeting for the purposes of a public hearing for the CBGB, say that right?
I'll
Yes.
second it.
Motion and second, all in favor?
CDBG, sorry.
CDBG.
That wouldn't it?
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions?
That's 6.
Seeing none, the motion passed, yes, at 6 o'clock. Public
Okay.
hearing, November 29th. Okay. The next resolution, 2022-165, I think that's, needs to be tabled, subject
agree.
to
Correct.
advice of
Yep.
council, right?
Motion to table?
Second.
Okay, motion and second to table the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Resolution 2022-166, resolution authorizing the budget transfer for the purchase of the infamous truck, oh, I'm sorry, it says truck, for Buildings and Ground Department.
So this is for $31,159. Steve's going to cover another $25,000 in his budget. So I'll make a motion that we approve.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions?
Nay.
Yes, that's right. Okay, one nay and no abstentions, so the motion passes. Okay. Let's see, that covers our resolutions. Any items for special consideration and new business? Okay, none?
We get the correspondence?
Yes, that's next.
Yes.
So do I have a resolution to acknowledge the correspondence log?
Where's the backup? I didn't get any backup details.
No, I don't know.
Joe?
Did we have any?
All I got is the one page.
Yeah, that's all I have.
I can't approve it if I don't see it.
Well, I have this. Did you get this one?
That's all I got. I thought there
that's
would be
all
more
we got,
detail,
yeah.
usually there is. So can you have it ready for the, I guess, the 29th meeting? Okay.
Okay,
That's
so,
fine.
yeah,
good.
we'll come back to it if you have it after that. Okay, so I have a motion to table the resolution on the correspondence.
it.
A motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Okay, so the next item is a motion to go into executive session. Jim, how do you want to characterize it? It's for,
Client.
and some personnel, right?
And, no, I don't believe.
Yeah, there's,
Oh, right.
couple.
A discussion related to the
Yeah.
appointment of a person.
okay.
Yes.
Make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. So then we'll be back based on that.
Oh, do you want to do this resolution?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
right.
Yeah, so we had, during our last board meeting, the Saturday workshop, requested the Sports Museum. They had indicated to us that they had some out-of-pocket expenses that related to the operations of the Sports Museum. We had requested that they provide us with, an accounting of that and also receipts. I have all that here, and based on this, there are a couple items that, were not appropriate for us to reimburse, but I'd say a total of $1,000. It's, well, let's see, it's less, their total was $4,106.76 less $1,230.
Us to reimburse them. I think it's a cleaner